Welcome in. You're listening to Medical Spa Insider, presented by the American Med Spa Association. We are happy to have you with us. This week, AmSpa founder Alex Thiersch welcomes back Taylor Siemens, along with Illume founder and CEO Ben Walder, to talk about her experience as a pilot member of the new Illume platform and what they've both learned about med spa marketing and operations during the process. And if you want to stay on top of marketing and operations for your med spa, check out our membership benefits at americanmedspa.org.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the program. Alex Thiersch here, and this is Medical Spa Insider. And we have two guests, and we're very excited to have Ben Walder and Taylor Siemens, who are here to talk some data, some AI data, some really cool stuff that have been that Ben, you've been working on for now a while. Ben is, for those of you who don't know, the founder of Illume, which is formerly known as InsightX, and for those of you, InsightX. We did a podcast, God, I want to say it was back in like maybe October of 25, not too long ago. Your product that you developed, Ben, I was fascinated by it at the time, and I remain to be. It's embracing, obviously all of AI and all the new tech, but at the same time, really embracing where aesthetics is going and how aesthetics practices are growing and manufacturing and bringing all that data together in a way that folks can process, that business owners and providers who are maybe not necessarily natural or trained business owners can really process. So it was a really cool product that you had developed. We just got back from Medical Spa Show not too long ago, and you were at our AI Tech Summit, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
You gave a really cool presentation there. And so I appreciate that. And then Taylor, obviously, for those of you, you're a longtime guest, not a first time. I think you probably hold the record for most times, except for
hey, I'll take it.
Or something, but yeah, I think you might. Yeah. So appreciate you both joining. I'm Ben. I'm excited to talk to you, and then Taylor, you've been implementing this new system from Illume, and I think, which is going to be instructive to hear. We've been talking a lot about AI, a lot about data. This has been front of mind for a bunch of people. Ben, last time we talked, InsightX was the name of the company. You have since rebranded to Illume. The product, from I was looking at your website and I'm checking some of the notes. The product, I think, looks similar, maybe a little more advanced, a little more built out. I think you've got some more meat on the bones.
Yeah.
Tell us what's been going on lately, what led to the name change, and kind of what you're up to these days and what you want to convey to the folks that are listening.
Yeah, of course. So thanks again for having me on today, Alex. So originally, InsightX, we obviously started as a reporting like analytics platform, but as we spent more time with operators, we quickly realized the real problem wasn't like a lack of the data that they had. It was more of like a visibility and then also alignment across all levels of the business. So obviously most practices have reporting trapped in their different systems, and the owner sees one thing, providers see another, the front desk team sees another, and then finance sees something probably completely different. And we realized we were building something much more than just dashboards. We were building really an operational intelligence layer for like a modern med spa. And the name Illume reflects that evolution. It's based off of Illuminate. And it's really about bringing like clarity to the business and helping operators make their decisions faster.
Yeah, that's cool. And what what I find interesting about that is business, and Taylor, you certainly know this as well. Like when we're all business owners, we started businesses or entrepreneurs, like things tend to not end up where you think they're going to be when you start, right? And it's like you get going and you start realizing things. I'm curious, Ben, though, getting into the industry, how long did it take when before you really started to hone in on this kind of new direction, which is, it's not necessarily new direction. I mean, you're using a lot of the same tools, a lot of the same things, but you're kind of honing you're sharpening your
Yeah.
pencil a little bit, and you're getting a little bit closer. How long did that take? And was there an epiphany moment where that was like, this is what we're gonna do?
Yeah, so my fiance is a nurse injector. So as we were launching InsightX Illume, that was always a thought in my head was like, how can my fiance use our tool? And like obviously our primary focus at first was like executive reporting, KPI visibility, and like kind of what we were touching on. Like today, the platform is much more operational and provider focused. So like we now support role-based reporting. So like injectors, providers, practice managers, and owners all see the metrics that are actually important to them. Um, we've also expanded beyond just like financial, like EMR reporting into things like tracking their utilizations, retention, cancellations, benchmarking provider performance, scheduling efficiency, forecast, like operational forecasting. And really the biggest shift is that we've moved like from that simple like pre-built dashboard idea onto like what happened to helping the practices understand what actions to really take next. And we kind of had that epiphany, I guess, in like December of 2025 when I saw my fiance trying to pull her numbers, and she spent like an hour and a half doing it. I was like, what if we just gave you well, I have the numbers, like we can just do it in like 10 seconds. So that's kind of where the aha moment went, and then started soft testing the idea through January. February, March was really like heavily focused on like what does an injector need to see in a performance scorecard? Like what's important to them? And like I mean, Taylor gave us great feedback on that. So it's like what metrics matter to these types of people, and then how do they easily digest it as well? So giving them access to our chatbot, giving them access to the Business Insights Hub has been super important.
Gotcha. So Taylor, like, tell me, like, what are the things that Um, and first of all, I think it's really cool. So, and just to get a little bit of the interaction history and context. So you were relying on Taylor Ben to help build out some of the specifics of the product. And Taylor, you were providing feedback on some of the things that you might need as an injector and a business owner and what some of the things that you wanted to track, which is really, I think, you know, obviously one of the best ways to do it. Um, Taylor, what are some of the things that as a solo entrepreneur, business owner, injector, that you were thinking, okay, this is something that might solve, this is a problem that this might solve for me. And then what are some of the specifics, like KPIs, metrics, and things like Ben was talking about that injectors might want to see that just that were difficult to get. Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, for me, I think it's important. It was actually my accounting and finance team who approached me, who said, "Hey, we are really interested in this dashboard, this tracking system that is being developed by Ben, and we want to try it out with a few of our clients. So, are you open to us kind of using your data? You share with us what you think." And so it really was my accounting team who was kind of going back and forth with Ben based on what we were finding together every month on, hey, this is going really well.
Yeah.
This is taking way too much time. Hey, this seems like this should be way easier to find. And I think that's important too, because it wasn't just, Ben to a business owner, which is important, but it's like, hey, we have to start at the roots of where this is, which is with the accounting team, and then the accounting team to the business owner, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of
Sure.
data, as we all know, that goes into running a business. And um, I hate to say not all data is important, but for certain roles, not all data is important. And so, really having the
Yeah.
chance to find the data that drive the decisions in your business in a much easier time frame, and a lot less math for me and phone calls to my accounting team was really important, because I wanted to be able to be proactive in our decisions, not reactive. And for years, I've had to be
Yeah.
very reactive based on old data or trends that we were tracking, rather than like, no, today, what are we seeing today, month to date, year to date, whatever, to make the decisions that we need.
Yeah. I think it's actually a really good point. I like the way that you put that because it is, um, what the accountants and the finance folks that we work with are looking for is one thing. It's almost like there's two levels of translation, what Ben is feeding them and then what they're feeding you, and then you've got to figure out kind of what it is you need. But then there's also, and we were talking before we got on, then what your specific injectors need, which I think is also really cool. It's like, and Ben, I want to get to this, and then Taylor, I'd love to get your thoughts on maybe how you're using this or how you anticipate using this. The individual metrics that individual injectors of a practice can access and use, I thought was really cool. Talk about that, because that's something that um, we've always, and Taylor, you've been to our boot camps. We've always talked about, like, you've got to hold, the injectors need to be held accountable. They need to know what their numbers are. They need to know what they're shooting for. At the same time, they need to be invested and involved. This, I feel like, gives them an opportunity to really have some access and
Yeah.
some ownership in that. So talk about that and how you got that into the system that you're using.
Yeah. So obviously heavy data background. So we're always thinking about like what KPIs can like add the most value. And what we found was a specific pain point was, especially with like practices of all sizes, where the owner or the practice manager was meeting with the staff once a month, quarterly, like once a month at best, quarterly, sometimes biweekly. But essentially, we started out by focusing on revenue per provider. So it's helpful for like staffing and like scheduling decisions. We have your like revenue per hour worked. So it's more meaningful than just like your total revenue number. Utilization rate is huge. So helping like identify underutilized providers or like scheduling gaps, and then rebooking rate specifically for the injectors, because it's a huge indicator of like patient loyalty and retention. And then also digging into like patient retention rate as well, where it's like it basically helps elevate the injector and like how important the relationships are with their specific patients. And then obviously we'll track like average ticket size, cancellation, like no-show rate, that sort of thing. Treatment mix is interesting. So allowing the injector to follow the patient journey in a sense where it's like, hey, Ben's a first-time patient at the Cincinnati location. Let's track him over the next 6 months. Like, what is he spending? What services is he getting? Can we convert him to like a tox if he didn't come in initially for that service? So, really just giving the people that are providing the services the power of their own numbers in real time. I think it's going to be extremely valuable just for practices of all sizes. We've already seen really positive feedback over the last 2 months with like, we did a closed like pilot in a sense where it was essentially just like a design partnership. And we've gotten positive feedback on it. So I'm excited to roll it out to the broader client base.
Yeah, that's cool. Taylor, what do you I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, those are, here to now, like, right? Those were pretty advanced things. Like, to think that your injectors would be able to access that kind of data, I think it would be, number one, it's great, but at the same time, I think a lot of small business owners get overwhelmed by all that information. Um, but to be able to have it and break it down in a way that would be easy to understand, I mean, I think would be pretty valuable. What's your kind of thoughts on it? And I guess also just a related question, how do you avoid too much information, to your point before?
I think one of the great things about it is the provider dashboard is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, but customized to the practice. So as a business owner, you get to say, this is what I want these people to be able to see. Which in a practice like mine is really important. I have really, really eager team members, and they'll see on one scoreboard for something that has nothing to do with them that we missed the mark on that. And my esthetician will be stressing out about the fact that we missed that when it has nothing to do with her job role, because they're so eager to see like green on the board. And so they are constantly, I meet weekly with our team members as departments and then also as individually, but they constantly want to know, what was my retail to revenue number? But then they get confused because they're like, wait, in that report, the number was this, and over here it's this. It's like, well, because that we're accrual based and that's revenue, but this is collections and we care about revenue. Like those are I have very intelligent girls, but that is a lot to learn. And it's not part of their job to learn those things either. So being able to control exactly what they need to know and where their marks are is important for me. So that customization is, I think, really critical. Just having a source of truth. Because we all know you can look at different reports or pull this over here, and numbers can vary based on how accrual-based accounting or what, even if you're doing cash-based,
Yeah.
whatever it is as a business owner, the numbers can vary based on the report. And so I think it's helpful for us to know, okay, these are the numbers that we're actually watching. So these are the what's going to drive our decisions without having to take the time of diving in further. Well, is that one right? Or is this one right? Just knowing, okay, these reports are the ones that we're going off of.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
to add to Taylor's point, like our motto this entire time has been keep it simple. So like when you log into the tool, it's KPI cards, graph, like especially if you're an injector, it's like KPI cards, graph if needed, and then also like the chatbot Ava, Insights Hub, which is interesting because we've found also a lot of providers and like owners are using this as like a coaching tool in a sense. So it's an interesting direction that I think us as a product and like as the industry is continuing to evolve with data and AI, it's like how can you implement AI coaching into some of these products, where I think like that's the direction that we're going towards as we get more and more like injectors, estheticians, front desk end users on our tool. Because like again, like we originally set out, we were building owner level visibility, and then as we got really ingrained with a lot of these clients, it's hey, there's more opportunity here. There's an underserved part of the practice that they need real-time numbers. They're the ones providing the services, so they should have quick access and easy access to their numbers as well.
Yeah, I'll add to the insights, Ben. So yesterday in my operations meeting, I tasked my operations manager, and this was her first time actually seeing Illume. I've been kind of holding on to it this whole time, just while we're tweaking things and making sure it's right, so she's not getting confused by the numbers. But I gave her access yesterday, and I said, I want you to go into the Insights tab, look at our numbers, and give me an idea that you're going to execute with clinical, marketing, whomever, whatever team. And so she came back to me and said, hey, last month we had more new patients than we've ever had. Looking at the insights, it thinks it's because of this. I ran a report in our EMR, and referral-based business is rapidly growing. We're going to send out an email next week to all of our people who have not referred a person and say, hey, did you know, like, we're relying on you to grow. Can you help us with this? Everyone who has referred, we're sending them a thank you for being willing to say our name in rooms that we're not in. And so that's something very little, right? That just came from understanding the data and seeing some of the insights, but is so helpful for us as a brand that I didn't have to sit down and help them come up with, hey, here's an action item for us. They were able to come to me and say, this is what we're doing. This is why the data supports us doing it. And I think as a business owner, like that's what we want, is team members who feel empowered by the data and not afraid of what it's saying.
Summer is coming, and if you're running a med spa, that means consultations are up, the phone is ringing more, and your team is stretched thin. But how many of those calls are actually getting answered? And how many high-value clients are you sending to voicemail, or worse, to your competitor? If you don't know the answer, it's costing your med spa thousands in revenue and preventing you from scaling. CallRail fixes that. CallRail's AI voice assistant, Voice Assist, answers and qualifies calls the moment they come in, whether you're with a client or out of the office, so you're not missing your next high-value consultation. While Voice Assist is handling those calls, CallRail automatically captures exactly which marketing channel drove those leads. So when summer winds down, you're not guessing what worked. You'll know, and you can scale it. That's why over 225,000 businesses, including top-performing med spas, trust CallRail. Try it free for 14 days. No credit card required at callrail.com/AmSpa. That's callrail.com/AmSpa. Yeah, and that's, I mean, and Ben, like that's, first of all, it's got to be music to your ears, because that's what AI is supposed to do. It's supposed to kind of amplify everything, right? You're like amplify the data, and make things, speak
Yeah.
and be easier to execute on and to do more with than it was before. Because, and Taylor, it's a great point because I can see that same process could have happened before all of this, before AI, before you had Illume. It just would have taken a number of steps and a lot of different things, and it probably just never would have happened, right? Because you wouldn't have been able to get to it. So to have a tool like this that can just kind of run those things and offer insights, I think is really cool. I mean, the one thing that I keep going back to in my mind though and this is something that I think it was like Terry Ross that I heard one time way back in the day. She was like, she kept saying garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you're going to get from your data is going to be based on what data is put into it. So the usefulness of the analysis is going to be based upon what you have going in. How do you ensure that you're getting the right inputs into your system so that you're able to analyze the data and get the right reports? That's all
Yeah.
through connection and I imagine through QuickBooks and stuff. Talk about that a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, garbage in, garbage out is a real like fear for a lot of, especially when you're using an onboarding analytics solution, regardless of what solution you're using in the space. And it's especially prominent in our industry because it's where you're operating across multiple disconnected systems, disconnected workflows, where one minor error can also lead to just complete anomaly or like a weird number showing up in your dashboard. Um, but what we've spent a lot of time developing is really like the back end infrastructure. So when you plug in, like, let's say like a Boulevard, Gusto, QuickBooks, CRM that you're using, it essentially flows through like a normalization process. And then we also flag anomalies. So it's like, hey, you did $2 million in sales yesterday. Like, hey, that's probably an error. Like, let's talk about it. So AI, we were able to use AI to flag those errors on the back end before the data ever gets to someone like Taylor, where also like on the onboarding and like discovery calls that we do, we really try to become experts in their current reporting needs as well, like what they're doing today. So just understanding like what the numbers that they're seeing look like. And then as we onboard them, like we'll flag like weird numbers, like the $2 million example. It's like, hey, there's probably a fat finger, like it's not supposed to be that. Um, but really like our goal isn't to like pretend that the data is perfect. We're just trying to help those practices progressively build a more like data driven environment. So we do our best to like flag anomalies on the front end.
Yeah, for sure. But the fact that it all integrates and kind of, I mean, I'm thinking back in the day when it was like you would have to get these things integrated like 10, 12 years ago, and it would be like a 18-month process. Um, Taylor, I mean, when you think about, I say this not because I'm trying to pump up your ego or anything, but you're not like an ordinary owner. I feel like you've been through the ringer quite a bit. You've run larger clinics, multiple clinics. Um, when you look at something like this, I think maybe you see it through a different lens than maybe normal single provider who's opening up or looking to open up. But just kind of looking at a tool like this, like what are some of the things that just not even a tool like this, but just like as a business owner and starting a business, your business is not that old, but you're already kind of cooking with gas already. What are some of the things that you just think about as a business owner? Ben mentioned things like, utilization rate and all of those things. Like what is a tool like this really gonna like a successful, whether it's a dashboard or whether it's a back end product that's just synthesizing everything. I'm curious kind of like what your dream is as someone who's kind of helping build something like this. What what this would look like if you could just make it all up yourself. And that's a
I
loaded
think,
question, I understand.
yeah, no, I think about like my background. So my background is running multi-site aesthetic practices. So we had 6 locations. We had a finance team of 2 or 3 max during those years. And
Yeah.
the amount of time that I, as an operations person, on a daily basis spent doing math and formulas and typing in my spreadsheet and pulling data from all these different places, we would literally start our day at like 5 a.m. and I would finish that maybe around 11 o'clock or noon. So by the time I even like sent that data out to our practice managers, so much had already happened, or they're already in their day trying to run the practice and put out the fires that they don't have time to implement on anything. Or if they did have a chance to look at our dashboards, it always led to more questions like, wait, what does this mean? Or what am I supposed to do about that? And so when you are growing, regardless of if you're single site or multi-site, cutting down the learning curve, I think, is crucial, because when you have a platform that, number one, is just already has the dashboard for you, I get to look at that as soon as I sit down without any effort on my part. And then number two, regardless of your knowledge base, being able to go to the insights of like, okay, and also what is my knowledge and experience not taught me yet that these reports might be able to teach me a little bit more. And so I think a lot about the practice managers too, even if you're not the business owner, having a tool that you can understand information more easily to lead your team better is such a gift, because my God, like honestly, I'd probably be years ahead. And I'm not saying this just to gas Ben up, like it's just data in general. I would probably be years ahead in my career than I am right now because of how much time and how many mistakes it took me to learn how to read these numbers and what to do about what I was seeing. And so I think it's just such a helpful tool, regardless of your experience, to be able to continue taking steps in the business.
Yeah, for sure. And Ben, you've got someone like Taylor, you've got others, and you've got your fiance who can
Oh
also
yeah.
help you with this. I mean, that's pretty cool. I
Yeah.
mean, that's you've got a just a total built-in support system.
Yeah.
What's your goal with this? What's your ultimately looking ahead? Like, I mean, obviously you've got a really cool foundational product. You've
Yeah.
got a lot of folks who are buying into it and believing it. What are you trying to achieve? What does success look like for you?
Yeah, for us, it's how can we continue to add as much value to the providers? That's like our main goal. And like the thesis we're now chasing is like, how can we change the behavior of a med spa where the entire operation is now data driven? So like we're chasing that. And I think success for us is becoming that like operational intelligence layer behind like the modern. I did this talk at the AI Tech Summit. It's like the modern aesthetics practice. Like we want owners, operators, and providers to feel like they finally have clarity into how the business is performing, and then also give them time back to figure out where opportunities exist within their current practice. So for us, it's like ultimately if we can help make or help practices make better decisions, like reduce the operational chaos and then create like healthier businesses, like that's the overall goal. And I think that would be an amazing success for us.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think the operational chaos. And Taylor, I'm curious what's your like how you've embraced AI other than the Illume tool. Like it's super easy to get kind of overwhelmed or to go down a rabbit hole and start and almost having it take over as opposed to the real goal, which I think Ben you put perfectly, is it's to make it's to buy you back time, right? To make your life easier, to have the ability to make to have you be able to do the things that you're doing. I mean, how much are you using AI in your practice other than with what Ben's doing? Are you fully embracing the agentic AI stuff, or are you taking
I'm
baby
probably
steps?
somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm not against AI. Obviously, it is here. And I think so many of us, things that we do on a daily basis are with AI behind them, and we don't even realize it, right? Like so
Yeah.
many functions in our CRMs and our EMRs are already built behind AI. I do think, though, in a hospitality-based service industry, which we are hospitality operators. The human touch is what sets you apart. And so there are plenty of things out there available that we're not participating in yet. I always say yet because, maybe the next update will be something we feel comfortable with. But I think that's the key for us is we're looking for AI that can help us with systems and processes, and that can give us our time back so we can then take that time to spend on things that humans have to do, whether that's providing more services or talking to patients or going out and getting in the community to spread brand awareness. Like those are things that AI is not going to do better than us anytime soon. And so that's the point, is using tools like this to get your time back. Um, we had our Q1 like financial review with the accounting team 2 weeks ago. And it was kind of funny because even going through that, I think we block like 2 hours for that. We go through, every month we're going through our numbers with them and have a review and all the things. But at the end of the quarter, you should be doing it for the whole quarter to see where you matched up with your projections, whatever. But it was really great because in the past, even though I'm looking at P&Ls and balance sheets and all of that, I still always felt a little bit like, okay, what am I about to walk into? Like, are there these surprises I hadn't thought of yet? Because you're just absorbing so much data all the time. But that was probably the shortest financial review I've ever had because I went in, I knew I've been looking at the things that mattered. I went in prepared to ask the accounting team, like, hey, what do you think about this? What should I be doing with this? Rather than having to go in and just hear from them and then take them next month going back and forth of how should we solve this? It was just a much more productive meeting. And I think that's what AI can do in this situation is make you a more productive human, which is what we want. We all want to be more productive.
For sure. Ben, we're going to be bumping up against time here in a second. I'm curious, what's next? I mean, how's the rollout going so far? I mean, I know you've laid out kind of what your vision is, which I think is
Yeah.
is admirable. What's kind
Yeah.
of next for you guys in the process?
So yeah, we just rolled out V2 of our product, or I guess this week. So over the next month, we're just going to be iterating on everything that we've really been talking about today. And like we've done a lot of exciting things, like even on the back end stuff that we've developed, like automating a lot of like the manual processes that like when you buy a software you have to do. So we've automated a lot of that process as well. So really what's next is just continuing to learn from our clients and like where there still might be opportunity to further improve Illume. And again, really, really excited to kick out the like role-based reporting structures that I've been like trying to keep a secret. But I've just been really excited about it. Obviously, because it also hits close to home for me as well. So just continued focus on learning from our clients and like where there's opportunity to make their lives easier. So heavy focus on that over the next couple months.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's
Yeah.
exciting. Good for you. And I can't wait to see what it is. I'm seriously like I'm like ready to fast forward like 6 months.
Yeah.
I used to say like 18 months, but I feel like 18 months is a lifetime in this industry now. Like that, and
Yeah.
now 6 months with all the technology advancements and what
Yeah.
we're doing, 6 months, who knows where we're going to
Yeah.
be. So where do you think we'll be in 6 months? But I'm curious.
I mean, so within 6 months, we actually turn a year old as a company this summer. So that would be an exciting milestone for us. But like the space in general, I really think I felt it at the medical spa show. It was my first time ever going to that industry event. And there's just such an emphasis on data, like how can you get more out of your data, whether that's using an AI-driven CRM, an AI-driven platform like us, like I know there's popular like call like marketing platforms and everything. Like so like what is the right tech stack? Like that was a lot of questions I heard about. I think a direction the space is heading is like vendor consolidation. So I think in the next 6 months, like practices of all sizes are evaluating their current tech stack and they're like, hey, like if we have 15 vendors right now, like which ones make sense for us as we're continuing to scale. So I think especially with AI advancing, it seems like there's something new every day that Quad rolls out. So
I know.
just it's very hard to keep up with even as a data person. So I do think in the next 6 months, like I'll be I think AI is going to be extremely advanced. I think there's a lot of evaluation going on right now on like which data sources make sense, which tech, like what's the right tech stack. So I think that hopefully in 6 months, we'll have a better idea. But that was like a theme I heard at the medical spa show in April. So
Taylor, did you ever think we would be talking tech stacks at the medical spa show? I wasn't sure that was gonna happen.
It's kind of insane how the conversations have changed. I mean, even more so, I think I've been going to Med Spa Show for 5 or 6 years now, and the conversations are so different now than it used to be. And I kind of predict we're going to learn who like the lazy operators are over the next year or so, because they're going to really be leaning into more advanced AI tech stacks, but they're not going to balance that with then learning what do I do with this information. And so I think it's going to be really interesting to see the practices, the clinicians, the owners that actually really level up over the next year, because they are truly using this as a tool and not as a replacement for the knowledge and the eagerness to move forward. So I think it's going to be really fun to kind of watch that divide and see who rises to the top.
I think that's a good way to put it. I think you're absolutely right. Everyone's got to deal with it, and not everyone who uses it though is going to be equally positioned. It's got those folks who really embrace it and put in the time and still do the basic things right. Because I think, Taylor, what you said earlier, I think is 100% right. When somebody walks into your practice, the experience they get from going up to the front desk and being greeted and all that, that's not going to change with a robot. That's going to be, human interaction start to finish. So, exciting stuff. Ben, I'll leave you with the last word, and where folks can reach you and hear more about Illume, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, we're heavily involved in the conference space. If you're ever going to like Aesthetic Meet or some of those other shows, feel free to say hi to us. Also, we have a new website, obviously, so joinillume.com. You can go there, get more information, reach out to us. We have a calendar link there. So if you ever want to talk about your current tech stack or how analytics can help your practice, feel free to give us a shout.
Now, are you going to get tech stack tattooed to your chest, like inverted, so when you look in the mirror, it's like looks at you like tech stack?
Once we
cross
1,000 locations, I will.
I heard he already had it like right above the small of his back, actually.
That's the natural spot for it, but I was going for something. Well, I appreciate the time, and let's have you back, both of you, obviously, and hear more. I'm super excited to hear where this all goes. I feel like I'm sitting on the sideline, just kind of like eating popcorn, like watching. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm equally as invested in it myself, so it's cool. Yeah. But thanks to you both. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you to our producer, Madeline Moeller, marketing content coordinator, who organizes the podcast schedule and guests and provides topics and talking points. Audio and video editing, voiceover, graphics, and platform management is provided by myself, Derek Hawk, digital marketing supervisor. Our theme is provided by Maka Music. Thank you for watching or listening to the Medical Spa Insider podcast. Please follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future episodes. Ratings and reviews are greatly appreciated. For more information about the American Med Spa Association, visit americanmedspa.org. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by AmSpa. Views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance in the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity that they represent. AmSpa provides this podcast as a public service for educational purposes only. This podcast does not constitute legal advice, nor does it establish an attorney-client relationship. Please consult with an attorney on your legal issues. And as always, thank you for listening to the Medical Spa Insider. Remember, compliance is cool.